Hello? Okay, wait, I need to. Okay, Discord is being kind of stupid right now. I'm like trying to adjust your role and I go up the list. Okay, there we go now. And then, like, when I'm about to left click, the list just fucking disappears. I felt like in one of those like bad comedy shows where they just follow people on the street and they like troll them really hard. That's supposed to be super funny. Anyways, before we start, I do need to ask you a question, if that's okay. So, over the last few weeks, right, I've been very confused. Okay, because I've been coaching for a while, right? Like I've pretty much been full time occupational coaching for 4 years now. Okay, and you meet a lot of people, right? But over this last week, 80% of my sessions, I'd say, have been with people whose last session was like 1 or 2 years ago. It's like all of these people that I've coached, and I feel like someone, you know, like I don't know, man, fucking, it's like Schindler's List, that movie, where he saved like all of those people, and then when they were old, they were coming back to like thank him. I kind of feel like that because I've coached all of these people like 2 years ago, and now they're all coming back, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? It's been 2 years. And I haven't asked any of them why that is, but like at this point, it feels like it's not a coincidence. So, do you have any idea why that's happening? Yeah, yeah, no offense taken, don't worry. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I guess it's the same for the other people then, because obviously, it's like when I check our last DMs, they were in pretty much exactly 2 years ago. Um, so yeah, man, like back then I used fucking Visor or Mayhem, Overwatch King's Row Mercy, February 2018. Oh Jesus Christ. Okay. Let me quickly pull your stuff up. Ah, okay. There we go. Good. Honestly, we do need to do some like general talking. So usually, this is like you've had a lot of like a few sessions already. Usually, the way that I would do this is just go over the VOD. But since we haven't talked in such a long time, I want to spend some time, kind of understanding everything that's been happening over the last 2 years. Because I'm gonna be very honest with you, I know you like by name, but I do not remember the session that we've had one bit because it's been a very long time ago. So give me a I was about to say give me a biopsy, like a summary of the last 2 years. Yeah, exactly. Because like what fucking rating were you back then, dude? I can't even remember. I think you were gold? Wait. Oh man. Oh, you were masters. Okay. Yeah, and then mercy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess let me rephrase it. Like, what are the events that led you to me after all this time? Where are we at right now? Mm-hmm. Oh yikes! Wait, so you're telling me 2 years ago you were GM and now you're chilling in Diamond? Okay. Okay. So like what do you actually, because you've been like going between like back then you were kind of swapping roles a bit. Like what role do you actually play right now? But, but what do you mean one trick widow on the side when you don't feel like you want to play support? Here's the thing. This is gonna sound like a little like strict, I guess. But ever since Roll Queue came out, obviously back then when I coached you, Roll Queue wasn't out. But ever since Roll Queue came out, the game has been a lot more competitive in terms of individual roles. So back then, playing multiple roles wasn't really bad. If anything, it was kind of expected if you wanted to compete at a very high level. Now it's kind of the opposite, where spending time on a different role is really, really counterproductive. And it's very difficult to be competitive at a high level if you spend time on a different role, just because the entire gameplay style is so fundamentally different. Like the way that you need to play a character like Mercy or Ana is fundamentally just so far away from what you need to do as Widowmaker that any second that you spend on Widowmaker is just going to kind of activate bad habits that you really don't want to have to deal with on your support characters. Does it make sense? Like, with Widowmaker, you generally position a lot more aggressively and you kind of focus different targets, whereas Ana and Mercy, their positioning is a little, Ana, for example, she wants to play closer to her front line, but generally wants to avoid line of sight with the enemies. Mercy generally plays a little bit further back. So, like, the positioning and everything is so different, and the role. If you want to, like, compete at a higher level, you really can't afford to spend any time on off roles. Okay. So what's your goal? Like, what are we actually? I mean, okay, you wrote down not be a hard stuck diamond player, but like that's kind of a shit goal. Let's just assume for a second that you being in diamond is just you having like a bad streak of games, right? But like, what's like your actual goal? Where do you want to end up? Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were good for like 4 or 5 weeks, and then you were bad again. Sounds weird. Okay, well, I mean, hopefully we'll see in the gameplay. But do you feel like you're okay with just being a support player and kind of sticking to support? Okay, because again, like it does make a very, very significant difference. Okay, honestly, I think the best thing that I can do for you is launch my game and then we can go over the replay code that you sent. There we go. Also, man, I always feel so nostalgic because you're from Brampton, and that's where the team house was when I was with Toronto Esports. Ah, so nostalgic. Yeah. And like it was my first ever like proper team house because I never got my visa with XL2, so I couldn't go to the Los Angeles team house. But obviously I could go to the fucking Canadian team house. And dude, it was I like genuinely that was like the best time of my life. Like we did feed a lot in like our tournament matches, but honestly, I don't even care. It was so fucking fun being there. Like it's actually insane. Um, but yeah, I like Brampton. Every single time I hear Brampton, I get like warm fuzzy feelings. So yeah, if I genuinely, now that like America is kind of going down the shitter, who knows? Maybe I'll emigrate to Canada one day. Actually, a lot of my family did that. It's like my family is from Morocco, and they either like the two main immigration locations are Canada and Germany. you know, because they want like more for their kids and everything than Morocco can kind of offer, you know. So they go to like the EU or Canada or whatever. But yeah, let me screen share. I have your VOD loaded now. There we go. I'm gonna hope this is the correct replay. Who the fuck are you? Wait, so how many accounts do you have? But I'm sorry, what? You have 20 accounts. Did I hear that right? I'm sorry. Wait, are you joking? Wait, you have 20 accounts. 20. You spent $400 minimum on one video game so that you could play it on 20 fucking accounts. What the fuck? Like, you know, I kind of disapprove of people when they have like 3 or 4 alt accounts, because I'm like, dude, if you want to reach top 500, you need to play on one account. You can't really, you know, you don't really have the time to waste on other accounts. But 20 accounts is a new record. Holy shit, man. Like, in a weird way, I kind of respect it because it's so insane that, you know, you just have to like look at it and say, wow, you know, like it's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But here's the problem that I have, because I'm a little conflicted, right? So there's kind of two sides to you. There's the one side that, you know, spends all of this time, who has spent like the past years getting coached, dreaming of reaching top 500. And then there's the other half that has 20 accounts and fucks around on like a billion different characters. Do you see how those two sides kind of aren't compatible with each other? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Just important for me that you understand that top 500 is a very non-compromise rank. Like, you can hit GM, you know, fucking around a little, right? But top 500, actually maintaining that until the end of the season, you need to take the game very serious. But okay. So what elo is this game?
4K, maybe 4.1.
Oh, okay. So this is. Wait, didn't you say you were in like a diamond slump?
Yeah. So, um, in the last few days, like before I actually I purchased the sessions with you. I started playing on
Mm-hmm.
this account, which is 4.1, and this game I was honestly being carried. That's what I think.
Okay.
But I wasn't
So what
like
happened to that?
feeling.
So what happened to the diamond account?
I'm scared of playing. It's like PTSD.
You're scared of playing on it?
Yeah, I just kind of feel useless in Diamond. I don't know why.
Um. Okay. I mean, generally speaking, if you want like my recommendation. Also, why the fuck is my frame rate dying? Holy shit. Hmm. Uh, Generally speaking, if you manage to drop to diamond on an account, you kind of want to get that account back up, rather than, you know, saying, "Oh, okay, well, I kind of turned this account into the shitter. I guess I'm going to go back to my other account." Because there's probably like some issues in your gameplay that led you to drop that far, and you kind of skipped the process of actually figuring out what those issues were. By the way, I'm not saying anything right now because so far everything has been like really minor and I don't want to nitpick. Like, for example, back here, this, if it loads even further. Like when you spend all of that time trying to heal your Genji in the top left, when you see that like your Mercy, like when you see this, what should go through your head?
Not
Do you
sure.
hear that? Okay. Your Mercy is pocketing your Genji. What does that mean for you?
If I get like flanked, I'm probably dead because the Genji's taking a fight.
That doesn't like that's not really relevant to you. I mean, like specifically for you, what does this mean for you as Ana? So if the Mercy is healing the Genji, who isn't she healing?
I need to look at my other teammates.
You need to focus at the rest of your team. Like as a support player, it's really important that you always try to avoid healing people or paying attention to people that your other healer is already covering. So right here, you should just say, okay, like the Mercy is taking care of it. There's not really much more that you can do. So instead of looking over there and, you know, even though you can't do anything, you need to pay your attention to what's going on over here because they're low HP. Both of them have lost their armor at this point. And I don't know how much you know about main tanking, but a main tank without armor is genuinely completely useless. Like they just can't really do anything. So, and you're staring up there, doing kind of nothing.
Okay.
It's a problem because now you need to like catch up with healing. So yeah, if you see your healers heal the left side, you heal the right side. If they're healing the right side, you heal the left side. Like you just want to kind of look at the other part of your team so that everyone on the team has at least one healer kind of watching over them. Like right here, for example, right? So you notice that there's like a flanker behind your team because of the Torbjorn. And the Mercy is already over there with your tanks, right? So when you see that, and you see that your Torbjorn there is taking damage, at this point, you just want to keep your eyes on the Torbjorn and make sure that he stays alive, right? Because all of these people, the Mercy is already taken care of. So all she needs you to do is to just focus on the Torbjorn, right? But instead you turn around to like try and heal your Orisa. And then your Torbjorn dies because no one was paying attention to him. Now, I'm obviously not saying that your Torbjorn is like a mastermind of positioning, right? Like, obviously, he's out of position, he's split from the team, and then he gets shit on by a flanking Ashe. But it's important, that's why it's so important that there's always one support on every character of a team. Because your Torbjorn was also kind of the only person who could actually contest her, right? So now you don't really have like a proper DPS that can turn around. Like the only DPS you have is the Genji, and the Genji ideally, like he doesn't really want to deal with shit like this, right? And you don't have a Brigitte or something either who could deal with her. You have a Mercy. So at this point, losing your Torbjorn makes it very, very difficult for anyone to deal with that Ashe. So yeah, like the Ashe can do whatever the fuck she wants at this point. I'm thinking whether you should nano.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it would have been worth it. What did you? You only lost Mercy at this point, and Torb. Torb is coming back. No, it's actually fine. Yeah, I wouldn't use a nano here because you get another touch anyways, and it's better to use that nano for the touch because your Genji has blade. Oh fuck, he uses blade. Why does he do that?
He wanted
Okay,
me to
but yeah,
like I was gonna die instantly there.
no, you guys should have just reset, like not even use any ultimates, and then use nano blade to like try and retake if you can touch. But yeah, the Genji shouldn't have gone in there and wasted his blade, but that's not really your fault. Okay. There's like two parts to this. It's not inherently wrong that you spend like all of this attention over on the enemy Ashe. The problem is that you need to always be aware of how you position. And generally speaking, as Ana, you're more of a frontline character as a support. Like because it's very difficult for you to get value out of your abilities if you're playing from that far away. Like if you think about it, the way that Ana actually works is it's you're just waiting for something to happen. It's like those like in a video game when you're fishing. You know, you just kind of sit there and you wait until a fish bites, and then you need to mash like the A button or some shit. And in that same way, you need to kind of fish for nades and fish for sleep darts and fish for nano opportunities. So ideally, you always want to be in a position where when the enemy team gives you an opportunity, right? So when the enemy team, bites the bait, I guess, you're ready to punish them for it. But the problem is that in this position, the enemy team can do whatever they want, because even if they run in front of a tank, even if they aren't behind cover, you can't actually punish them from that position. So the first thing that needs to go through your mind here is, this position doesn't allow me to actually do anything, right? This position doesn't apply any pressure. That's the problem, right? The enemy team doesn't really give a shit about you if you play all the way over here. So your first priority needs to be to get over to your front line, because if you were with your front line, your Reinhardt wouldn't have died. But this is what I mean with the fishing. Like, this is an opportunity where you need to be ready to pull up the fish and mesh A, but you're not even at the fucking pond. You're like still packing your bags. Also, as you can see, over 2 years, my analogies haven't gotten any better. I'm sorry. You really, I think, okay. No, your Genji doesn't have blade. You're like really, really not using your nano very often. Like, ideally, nano is an ability that you just want to kind of pump out. Like, it's not really something that you want to hold on to for very long, because it charges fairly quickly. And most of the time, you use the ability just to save people. Like, using your nano boost on a tank just to save their lives. I mean, you know that, right? Like, you know that most of the time you use nano to save your tanks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just guaranteed value. Like, even if you nano the Genji, there's always a chance that he's gonna get fucked on. What happens if the Sigma rocks him? What if the McCree stuns him, right? Like, there's a chance that you're gonna blow nano on him and then nothing happens. But if you use your nano to save someone, like right there using it to save your Orisa, that's guaranteed value. Right there, that nano boost was very, very early. So this is very dangerous. Generally speaking, nano boosting Ryan is good, of course, but you want to nano boost to like try and save him. So you shouldn't have nano boosted him right away. You're on defense. They're playing against the clock, so you want to try and drag out these fights as long as possible. So I agree with you nano boosting him. I just think you should have waited like another 5 seconds or so, just to waste more of their time. And yeah, again, this is why positioning this far in the backline sucks as Ana, because landing nades across this range essentially turns into a gamble. Like, of course you missed it, right? So it is also partially skill-based, but the closer you are, the easier it is to land nades. And if you want to play Ana at a top 500 level, like, those nades need to be consistent. Like, you always need to be a threat, and that's the problem with your gameplay, because you're not always a threat. So the enemy team just kind of forgets about you. They kind of just don't really care about you most of the time. But yeah, this is a reset. They're using like a billion ultimates. That's fine. Okay, you have both tank ultimates for the next fight. That's good. That's a good thing about Nano. It like charges really quickly, and it generally forces out so many enemy ultimates because they need to react to it. Okay. Yeah, that's good. I mean, your team kind of carried you, yeah, but you did that fine. Like, you didn't panic. Do you like alt tab while you play?
Not really. I just have allergies, so I like blow my nose a lot.
Oh, because like right here, dude, you just like go fucking AFK. It's like you're checking your phone or something. Okay. Yeah, you need to get like, do you have like medicine for the allergies?
Um, yes, but don't really like taking them. I guess I should.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna show you. So I have something called a vasomotor rhinitis, which basically means that my nose specifically is just hypersensitive to everything. It's like I'm allergic to literally everything. And I never had something that would help. But then, okay, this is gonna be a German link, but I'm sure that you guys have like similar meds in fucking Canada as well. I found this. it's like a special variation of Cetirizine called like Cetirizine ADGC. And I don't know what the fuck is in it, but that shit like completely numbs my nose. Like my nose just isn't functional anymore when I take it. So yeah, very good recommendation. And it doesn't make you very sleepy. Like it makes you a little, you know, like a little relaxed, I guess, but it doesn't make you like tired or anything. Like I can play video games at like a top level, no problem, even while taking them. So it's very nice.
All right, I'll check that out.
Nice sleep dart. That nade is like really panicky. Again, like this is also something that you probably know. You always want to default to using your nade like offensively. And right there, he really didn't need that nade. Like that's another advantage of Nano Boost. Because when you have Nano Boost, you don't need to panic nade. You can see whether you can heal them up. And if you notice, oh shit, I can't heal them up, you can always just quickly Nano Boost them to save them.
Yeah, I think I waste my nade a lot just because I panic and healing.
Like that's really how you dying there. It doesn't really matter that Ashe is in a super weird position. And your Genji just got a 6k. Generally speaking, like the whole point behind Ana over other supports is the amount of pressure that her abilities apply. Like that needs to be your mindset throughout the entire game. Like, how can I be as big of a threat? Because your nade is one of the strongest single abilities in the entire game. Like it's insane. Like it can, if you land a big nade, that's, you know, essentially EMP levels of fucking over the enemy team. Also here, so you're on high ground, which would be fine if you're like a DPS. If you were like Widowmaker, this would be good. But can you think of reasons why being up here as Ana is a little bad?
I can get pressured really easily, and I don't have line of sight of my team because they're playing under the.
You don't even exactly. You don't even have line of sight with your team. So what's the point in being up here?
There is no point. It's just pointless.
Yeah, like there's no real reason for you to be up there. Like it doesn't give you any advantage over being down here. And that's again like the problem with playing DPS, because as DPS that position is like really good and you taking it is really good, but as Ana you really just want to stay close to your tanks. Also, you're jumping a lot. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, watching this back, I did.
Don't jump. It's not very good. It's just a really bad habit. I'm not saying that's the reason why you dropped down to diamond, but I am saying that, you know, another good habit to have. Don't none of this, just reset. They're burning ultimates, that's good for you. Okay, you guys just need to get one proper reset. Like so far you haven't really landed any big nades or gotten any super duper high value nano boosts this entire game, and that's a problem. Like you're healing your teammates fine, but the problem is that that's not really what makes okay, you just got shit on. That's not really what makes top 500 Ana. I mean, see, like this is the problem with relying so much on no blade, because sometimes your Genji is just kind of stupid and doesn't realize that his Ana is dead. Yeah, there's nothing that you could have done there. That's fine. You just shouldn't have gone in that early. I mean, I'm assuming he probably flamed you.
He did for a couple of seconds.
Yeah. Don't worry, it was his fault. I mean, I guess you guys could have communicated that better, but yeah, like in that situation, he should have seen that you were dead and that you were getting res. Better, your team is like hella out of sync. Right now, you guys are just getting really, really snowballed. That's a good nano. Ooh! That sleep was dirty.
Please.
How did you miss that nade? Your nades are like really low impact. You hit the payload. How did you hit the payload? Like, how can you miss Orion who's shattered? Come on. You didn't even hit your own Reinhardt. Holy shit, your nades are like not up to par. I feel like you're focusing so much on keeping your teammates alive and keeping yourself alive that you kind of forgot about the whole actually carrying part. And yeah, this is just overtime stalling that doesn't really do anything. Okay, halftime. Any questions so far?
I think I got it so far.
Okay. Also, for some reason, the game is telling me my FPS is GPU bound, and I have no idea why. What the hell? Okay. It is fine. Yeah, right now you don't really need to do anything but charge Nano. What was that nade for? Like your mercy is right there. Why do you keep pretending that your other support doesn't exist? Like she's literally right next to him. Why burn your nade? So there's like always kind of two states on attack that you're in on payload. You're on states like this, where it's not really difficult. Like pushing the payload is kind of free, right? And then there are states like this choke where you guys actually need to fight in order to get through the choke, right? Whenever you're in a phase like this, where you guys are just pushing the payload for free, your main focus should just be staying alive and keeping your teammates alive. And whenever you reach like a difficult part of the map, like this choke or like this corner or this corner over here, when you reach those areas, that's where you need to play more aggressive and more around landing good nades and getting good nano boosts off. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you burning your nade there is not good because now the payload is stuck and, I don't want to say anything, but the Reinhardt is charging. And when a Reinhardt is charging and, maybe you stand over here and you throw your nade, like, do you see how juicy that would have been?
Yeah.
That would have been pretty fucking juicy. But yeah, you don't have it and you're like really, really far back. Again, like, why are you this far back? Like your entire team is in. All right, so right there you waste your nade. Okay, you're chilling. Cart is stuck. Okay. And your team engages, right? This is an engage. So what should you do right now?
I guess I should be closer and like actively looking for a good nade spot.
Yeah, like do you think in this moment anyone on the enemy team has you on their mind? Like you're pretty much invisible to them. You can do whatever you want because no one gives a shit about you right now. They're trying to deal with these people jumping in, right? And you need to recognize that. And right here, you need to get out of your scope and you just need to hold W, hold W, hold W, hold W. Like you can literally like play over here. This is the position that you want to reach, ideally. But do you see how you're not really? Like, look, your Hanzo is already over here. And you guys both started back there. So do you see how he's seeing how his team engages? And he's using that to take space and push up? But you're not doing that. Like even though your team engages, you're like staying in the back and you don't push up until it's too late. And yeah, like look, all of your nades are like these huge Kobe nades. And that's a problem because the only way you land these nades is like if an enemy walks into them. Right?
Yeah.
Whereas, look where your Mercy is standing. Let's say, right, you would stand like on the payload. This is a pretty easy nade to land. This over here, where the fuck are you? This here is not such an easy nade to land compared to standing over here. So yeah, you're like not putting yourself in positions where you can easily nade the enemy team. And it's reducing your impact by a lot. Like again, like walk closer. Like right here, no one gives a shit about you. The enemy team is ignoring you, right? So instead of trying to like do weird nades across corners or something, walk into them. Like stop being so scared. It like the best way that I can describe your gameplay is you're blind to your teammates. It's like the only thing you actually see is the enemy team, but you're not playing around your team at all. Like you're not paying attention to whether your team pushes in or not. You're not paying attention to who your other healer is looking at. It's like you're just kind of doing like you're playing in your own bubble, and what's going on around you doesn't affect your decision making at all. And that's obviously kind of a problem, because if your teammates push up and they draw attention and you don't take advantage of that, that's pretty bad for them because they're wasting their time. If you spend your time looking at the same targets your Mercy does, then that screws over the rest of your team. But yeah, right now the amount of nades that you land really just isn't like good enough to have an impact at this level of gameplay. And yeah, like the days of being able to just be like a nano bot where you just nano the Genji and then you get top 500, like those days are unfortunately over. See, again, like these weird Kobe nades. Like right now, okay, remember what we talked about earlier, right? Do you remember how we differentiated like this part of the map to areas like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that right now, are you in one of the easy stretches or one of the hard parts?
It's in the easy stretch, almost gonna be the hard part.
Yeah. You're in the easiest stretch right now. The enemy team isn't touching the card, but you're about to be in the difficult part because you guys are going to push the payload, right? But eventually, right, now the difficult part starts because this is where the enemy team actually contests, right? And you want to save your cooldowns during the easy part and then use them during the difficult part. But if you throw out your nade like this when you're already pushing the payload, that's a problem because when the enemy team actually pushes up, right? So obviously you get shattered and you get one shot. You know, there's not really much that you can do. But when the enemy team pushes out of the choke, like that's when you need your nade. Because if you can land a nade on like their front line, or honestly, if you can land a nade on anyone, that makes a huge difference. Also, I hope I'm not just like contradicting everything that your other coach told you. That would be kind of awkward.
No.
Okay. You're going on a journey?
See, my plan here was to like play in the back high ground while they dive in, but
Yeah, you can't really do that like alone. Again, like this is a DPS move because a DPS can properly defend themselves and actually contest this high ground, but like how are you supposed to actually maintain control of this high ground? And you're like really far away from your other healer. Like again, you want to make sure that you pay attention to where the rest of your team is and that you start moving towards them. Because your other healer can't do anything for you if you stand over here. And you're also very limited in what you can do from this position. So yeah, this position is like really awkward and you're missing more nades. Okay, just farm up your nano, and then you can blade next round, next team fight. Like, so far, the only way that you've had an impact is by nano boosting the Genji, and then he carries you. And ideally, we want to do more than that. Yeah, see, like, there's nothing for me to say. Like, you just nano the Genji, and then he does all of the carrying for you. So I can definitely see why you said at the start that you felt carried this game. Like, even right here, like, you have such a big numbers advantage, and you're still playing so safe. Right? Like, right here, after seeing that my team is literally killing everyone, like, I would just fucking run on the cart and, like, try to nade, like, the Hammond or nading the Winston or something. But you're playing so conservative. You're lacking confidence, and I'm not sure why. It's not like you're a bad player. But you're not playing like you know that. Okay, so right here, again, you just want to save your cooldowns and not over-aggress, because, again, this is like an easy part of the map. Right? The difficult part is going to be over here, most likely. That's where the enemy team is going to contest. That's when you want to, you know, start playing aggressive and start going for nades. But right now, this is easy. This is face roll. You just want to focus on staying alive and keeping your teammates alive, but you don't want to, you know, over-aggress and get picked. Nice nade. That was like the first proper nade you threw this game. That wasn't just you throwing it across the map, praying that it's gonna land. Okay. So do you see how immediately when you hit that corner, like the team fight actually starts? It's always very predictable, so you can position around it. And that bomb was random as heck. Nice. See, like, that's good. You actually ran in and you landed like a top tier nade. Like, that nade was fantastic. Yeah, it's a nice nade. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than not using it at all. Nice nano. He's just gonna blade. Yeah, we can skip this. Your Genji knows what he's doing. But yeah, that last minute was like a glimmer of hope. You know, it's like you've warmed up and you're kind of feeling it. But then, oh, never mind. Your Genji did not carry you out yet. You do need to actually work for that win, I guess. Okay, this team fight is really awkward. I mean, you guys don't really have any ultimates, so the goal here shouldn't be to win. The goal should be to just... Well, actually, you guys don't have time. Honestly, you guys are just kind of fucked. Like, the VOD isn't over, so you guys win this somehow. What the fuck does the enemy team do to actually give you guys the win? Like, how the fuck are they dying? What's happening? And then your Mercy, okay. Yeah, the enemy team just threw. What the fuck? Did they go AFK? You should not have won this. What the fuck? Oh my god, the enemy team is so fucking dumb, it hurts. How did they throw that? Hey, yo. Not gonna lie, that was a little depressing. Well. Let's give this attack another shot. This is so awkward to watch. What the fuck is going on? Even I'm getting confused now. Why are you... Yeah, that's why it feels so weird. I finally figured it out. Why do you scope in so much? Like, is this really... Like, you know, scoping in range?
Not really. Like I could have just gone away with hip fire.
Like, you're scoping in so much. Like, look at this flick. Holy shit, dude. That flick looks so fucking funny. Like, when he rolls to the left. Whoosh! Oh my god. But yeah, it's really, really awkward. I mean, your Hammond did kind of feed. There's not much you could have done about that, but you need to stop scoping in. Like, as Ana, again, like, you're fishing. And in order to be effective at fishing, you always need to see, like, all of the water in front of you, so you can see where the fish are. But when you scope in, you can't see the fish, you know? So when one of your teammates feeds, you can't react to that because you literally don't see them. You don't know what's going on. Like, you want to scope in as little as possible. Pretty much the only time that you scope in is when you need to heal someone who's on a flank, or like a Pharah or something, or when you're poking enemies. But when you're just healing people like close to you, you always hip fire. Again, why are you scoped in here? Like, what the fuck? Oh man, I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Okay, wait, I'm gonna get this. You know, it's like a tradition that I have now. Whenever someone does something that's like really confusing, I take a screenshot now so they can set it as like their background. Like, why the fuck is this a scope shot? There you go. You're welcome. Mamma mia. Yeah, it's like you're not confident in your hip fire or something. Okay. Going on that flank is, again, kind of a DPS move. You don't really want to split yourself off from your team like that. Nice nade. Can this Winston fucking die? Aw, that's unfortunate. But yeah, nothing on the enemy team died. There's not really much that you could have done there. No, you didn't play that perfectly, but you played that fine enough. It's just that nothing died. Okay. Yeah, having to close hold here is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, we were holding like at this building, so I was like scared of getting flanked around the stairs the entire fight.
Man, your jumping is so weird. It really shouldn't be. Like, the only time you really jump is like when you're smurfing, or you're just fucking around in Mystery Heroes, but like in ranked, you don't really do it. Like, how are you supposed to have like a good overview on what's going on when your screen fucking bounces every 2 seconds? Like, isn't that kind of distracting?
I see what you mean.
Like, just watching this, it's like hippity hoppity, you know, like strafing is like enough camera movement, but you're adding bounces to that. That was really nice nano boost though. You're actually within like, you know, like big dick range.
I feel like it's just because I'm like forced to play here. It would.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah,
something
I
different
think
if
that too. Like the
I would
game is
just.
forcing you to actually play correctly, and you're doing good. Okay, now you're backing off really far again, and I'm confused. You know, don't you want to be like over here so that, like, do you see how the game kind of plays itself when you're over here?
Yeah.
Like, that's a 3-man nade the game is throwing at you. You know, the C base is biting the bait, but you went and made yourself a sandwich. And yeah, like right there, using your nade again to heal your Reinhardt. Like, my man. Like, you have the mechanics of a GM player, but you're actually making decisions that are so insecure and like, really, that is like, you're just so insecure and like nervous. Like, oh no, my Reinhardt is going to die at 70 HP. I'm gonna nade him. Oh no, I'm gonna get flanked, so I'm gonna play on the other end of the map. Like, you're playing to not lose instead of playing to win. That's, I guess, the best way that I can summarize your gameplay. Like, the only thing that should be going through your mind 24/7 is, how can I fuck over the enemy team here? Like, how can I be a fucking menace that they need to deal with? But you're instead focused on, how can I stay alive until I can nano boost my sugar Denny Genji so he can carry me? But that's not like it's not the good mindset, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, do we have any